How do you differentiate between envy and jealousy?
I think of jealousy more as envy plus wrath. And I guess envy for me, a lot of it comes from, if you think back to Full Metal Alchemist, before the death of Envy, which was one of the homunculus, he realizes that he was actually wanted to be the thing that he was envious of himself. And so they're very linked because he was jealous, but then he was more than envious because he was up to the point that he was willing to kill the thing that he wanted to become. And so jealousy, I feel, has a wrath connotation kind of attached to it as well.
And jealousy are part and parcel of the same thing, but perhaps thinking about envy, it could be maybe an attribute or something that someone else has that you might want to have. So maybe if it's a certain talent or a certain skill or a certain ability, maybe that could be feeling envious of that. Perhaps jealousy could maybe have more of a sense of entitlement, that you want to have a certain lifestyle, or you could be jealous of someone who might have many friends or has opportunities that you may not have, or has a bigger house. But at the end of the day, I think that envy and jealousy are negative qualities, and it's all about maybe being desirous of someone else and being unhappy with your own life.
When it comes to envy, I would say envy means wanting something that somebody else has. Jealousy, I think, also has a more emotional component to it, that there's a sense of malice, and it doesn't have to be wanting something that someone else has, because that can be jealousy as well. But the biggest distinction is that jealousy can be feeling possessiveness over something that you have that you feel like is being taken away from you, like a spouse or a friend.
Are people generally supportive of one another or selfish due to personal interests?
Well, I mean, I'm an idealist, so I like to think that people are supportive. But I think realistically, that everyone is invested into something personally. I think we're individualists, and that we all desire and want certain things for ourselves. And when we look at other people, we desire some things that we may not have. However, I like to think at our core that we're happy for other people, and whether or not our happiness serves us is another issue. So maybe we're happy because it serves our own way of being. So I don't really know, but I'd like to believe that we support each other in whatever we go through. It also depends on the relationships we have with those people around us as well, and how close we are to other people. But I like to think generally that we are supportive, but then the fact of being supportive may also be part of our own personal interest in what we want to achieve in our own lives. So.
Well, first of all, the word generally, it's almost like saying, are most people selfish or are most people supportive? I think realistically, you would probably have to say that people are more supportive, because I think if people didn't support each other, society would have never been built. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are supportive because of personal interests. So it's not so much as one over the other, but the two actually happen to coincide more often than most people think.
So I think we all like to think that we're supportive of one another on a general basis. However, if we look at the theory of altruism and how they say that there is no true altruistic act, that basically is saying everyone is kind of selfish, because every even kind of quote unquote altruistic act is attached to a selfish connotation.
How does materialism play a role in influencing our decisions? Does its constant presence leave a good or a bad effect in the world?
I think we all want to be successful for different reasons, right? You know, some of us want to be, it's all about personal gain, right? But I think part of that personal gain is now it's a materialistic. We definitely live in a materialistic world. There's no doubt about that. We want to acquire things, and the way that we maybe can look at our own success is through how much we have. And so I definitely think that materialism does play a vital role. If we were thinking about one job over the other job, I think definitely we would think about where we might be able to attain more. I like to believe that it's that we're living in a world where we can have some personal profit and then some professional gain, but at the end of the day, I think it has a negative effect on the world, because we are constantly motivated by what we can achieve in material ways or what we can acquire.
I feel like it can be a goal for a lot of people. I mean, we probably would not work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, if we weren't going to be paid for it. And that in itself, though, is good, because then it makes us do stuff. It gives us goals to achieve. It gives us kind of a mark to aim for. However, materialism, then there's like the flip side of the coin, where you think about there's the problem that there's a lot of children these days that are being exposed to materialism at a very early age, and I forgot the terminology for that, but let's just say a lot of them end up asking for a lot more, and then there's the whole spoiling children thing that's happening. That's a little new.
It's sort of important to define what somebody means by materialism, though. Like materialism as in the ceaseless desire, like for material goods, or does it just simply mean like a desire for our needs? Regardless, its presence is probably both good and bad. Like if people do not desire things, then nothing would get done. But at the same time, excess is clearly destructive. Right? There has to be a balance.
Does social media bring out the best or worst in people?
Oh, the worst.
Well, it depends on what you are seeking in social media. I mean, if you're looking at cute puppy videos and cat videos, I can't imagine it would bring out very bad qualities in you. However, then there are other things that you could be looking at in social media that wouldn't be that great for you, that those without internet hundreds of years, or not even 100 years ago, wouldn't have had access to.
Okay. So are we an envious or jealous society?
Envious or jealous society? I guess if we're going by my what I think is the difference between envy and jealousy before, I'll go with we're an envious society, because if we're a jealous society, we'd all be trying to kill each other.
I mean, there is an aspect of social media that's great, where we can share our lives, and it's a new way of being in the world and being in each other's lives. But I definitely feel that social media has added to, made us worse. There's a lot of gossip and a lot of bullying that can also happen over social media, where we are sort of so involved in other people's lives that we fail to look at our own, or that where we can construct the lives that we want on social media and sort of live behind the walls of that. So I think it's definitely changed what we value about each other and what we value about our lives, and I think it just takes up a lot of time. I also think that it fosters envy or jealousy, and fails us to sort of look at ourselves, where we're constantly looking at other people.
To me, it's sort of like a mirror. It kind of reflects what is you. I mean, if you're a narcissist or a jerk, it brings out the narcissism and jerk within you. If you're altruistic or gregarious, it brings that out. So it's not really about bringing out the best and worst in people, but I think it brings out who people really are.